Don't stress your mind, we coming home tonight to you.
Hey guys, it's me, Rebelin Stretcher, your classmate. For this vlog, I will give an introduction about the political and legal environment. Introduction. When doing business across national boundaries, international marketers almost always face what are perceived to be political and legal barriers. So, kapag magtatayo ka ng business, kailangan alam mo yung political and legal barriers ng isang bansa dahil minsan may mga risk na kinakaharap kapag magtatayo ka ng business through international marketers. It is due to the fact that government policies, laws, and action can be very different from country to country. Sabi na dito na ang bawat bansa ay may kanya-kanya rules and regulation and policies. Kaya mahalaga sa isang business na may knowledge ka sa rules and regulation na pinapatupad ng government. Terrorism in the world economy. Terrorism used to be considered a random political risk of relatively insignificant proportion. Considered itong political risk dahil ang terrorist activities na didescribe niya yung mga international movement of supplies and merchandise and financial flows. Every year, terrorist attacks make a considerable impact on the world's economy. Nagkakaroon ito ng impact sa world's economy dahil naapektuhan ito ang wealth and resources ng isang bansa, especially in terms of the production and consumption of goods and services. According to an IMF study, the September 11, 2001 terrorist attacks in New York and Washington, D.C. resulted in major losses for the U.S. economy. An IMF study identified the direct loss as totaling about $21.4 billion or about 0.25% of the U.S. GDP. Other studies estimates are much higher. Short-term lost economic output was estimated at $47 billion and lost stock market wealth at $17 trillion. Long-term cost of security expanding the anti-terrorist activities can also be significant. Sa pagigpik ng security dahil sa terrorist attack ng September 11 ay naapektuhan yung international trade. Because of that, it can cause delay in shipment of goods and rising concern among business that rely on just-in-time delivery. September 11 attacks, along with the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan, increasing stability in the Middle East have caused tremendous concern about future oil supply for economic security. In some parts of Africa are also facing frequent attacks from terrorists. In the middle of 2007, regular attacks of insurgents had resulted in the large reduction of Nigeria oil export volume by 25%. Of 2007, regular attacks of insurgents had resulted in the large reduction of Nigeria oil export volume by 25%. Most recently, 3 successive major terrorist attacks in 2015 in Ankara, Turkey on October 10, in Beirut November 12, and in Paris, France on November 13 shook the world. This table represents the depressing effects of terrorism. Most countries with more than average terrorist incidents have lower foreign direct investment. Kaya mababa ang FDI ng isang bansang maraming terrorist attacks. Because FDI is the investment in manufacturing services, facilities in a foreign country with an intention to engage actively in managing them, and also to avoid non-tariff barrier. In addition to human tools, these incidents continue to have an enormous effect not only on economic activities, including tourism, international trade, and foreign investment, but also in various government policies, including immigration. National agreements. International politics has always been characterized by the predominance of strong ideological links centered around and dominated by a relatively small number of large powers. International agreements are formal understanding or commitments between two or more countries. An agreement between two countries is called bilateral, while an agreement between several countries is multilateral. The countries bound by an international agreement are generally referred to as state parties. The international political environment is determined by a dynamic process of the interaction of players, each pursuing their interests and working together for mutual interest. Coordination is prime importance. International agreement is the most important instrument by which form of cooperation as well as business relationship countries are established. In the United States, the Congress that the President is in charge of international trade. On the other hand, Fast-Track Trade Authority gives the President a free hand in directly negotiating trade deals with the foreign governments. President Clinton did not get the Fast-Track Trade Authority, but President George Bush was granted this authority in 2002. 7 is an economic policy coordination group made up of political leaders from Canada, England, France, Germany, Italy, Japan, and the United States. The G7 began during the economic crisis of the mid-1970s. 7 countries continued to play a major role in world economy. For example, during a G7 meeting in Rome, Italy, in February 2009, the main agenda was to discuss the global financial crisis of 2008 to 2010. Russia joined the G7 in 1997, and the group consisting of the original G7 and Russia came to be known as the G8 Group of 8. The heads of state, senior economic ministers, and heads of central banks typically meet once a year to further economic coordination. The G7 countries suspended their 16-year collaboration. The G7 is an intergovernmental organization that meets periodically to address international economic and monetary issues. The major purpose of G7 is to discuss and resolve the global problems. G8 Group of 8. The G8 group consists of the original G7 and Russia. The G8 ceased to exist in 2014. The G8 included some politically sensitive issues, such as an effort to make arrangement for the reconstruction of Kosovo and ended of the Balkan states as a whole after the Kosovo completing sanctions against Iran suspected of developing nuclear weapon, among others. G20 Group of 20. In 1999, a broadened Group of 20 was formed to bring industrialized and developing economies together to promote economic growth and international financial stability in the global economy at the ministerial level. G20 leaders also agreed that an effective implementation of growth strategies is their top priority to combat economic uncertainty. A significant difference from G7 is that G20 includes as member states not only traditionally developed countries but also many of the leading emerging economies such as India, Brazil, Mexico, South Africa, South Korea, and Russia, as well as Saudi Arabia as oil-rich country. The Wasina arrangement was founded in 1995 as a multilateral export control agreement on conventional arms and dual-use goods and technologies. Australia, Japan, and the NATO countries, except islands, are members. The North Atlantic Treaty Organization (NATO) alliance consists of 30 member states from North America and Europe. NATO's essential and enduring purpose is to safeguard the freedom and security of all its members by political and military means.